figured I would been a little overdue on doing another tier list here. So I figured we'd just have a conversation, shoot the shit. Some of y'all are probably gonna hate me over this, but my opinion does not necessarily equal your opinion. So, you know, if you don't agree, that's cool. But I figured since Halloween came and went so damn fast this year, it really felt like it wasn't Halloween at all. I would go ahead and do a tier list on horror movie villains. And this isn't a be all end all comprehensive list of all of the horror movie villains out there, but these are just some of the most memorable ones, some of the more popular ones. And like I said, some of y'all aren't going to be real happy with where I put some of these. One comes to mind really quickly, but we'll get into that. So I'm not doing any sound alerts, no blurbs, no sound commands, nothing like that today. We're just going to have a little chat. And we're just going to chill. Well, yeah, you want to jump into it? Let's go ahead. All right, so our tier list. We've got... One second here. Get rid of that. We've got Absolute Icon. We've got True Killer. Appealing enough. Meh. And Straight Trash. Now, I don't think we're going to find too many in Straight Trash, but we'll see. I haven't really thought about any of these that I put on here. So let's just jump right in. Let's do The Nun, Valak, from the Conjuring movies and then their own standalone movies. Now this character is cool enough, but the movies themselves, not that great, not that scary to me. But the character itself is cool enough, but the movies just didn't capitalize on it. And to me this was not, was not a great depiction of what this character could have been. And I haven't even seen the latest Nun movie, and from what I've heard, it's not that great. So for me, The Nun is just kind of meh. It's whatever. It's a cool character, but just I could live with or without it. Next up, Children of the Corn, and this one kind of hurts because I really enjoyed the original, the 1980s original. But as these movies went on, they just got worse, worse and worse. And I don't know what went wrong, but it just became not scary. I remember as a kid though, this movie kind of freaked me out being around the cornfields. But I don't know what happened to them. And they're just not that scary, and they're kind of dumb. So this, for me, going in straight trash. Maybe one of these days they'll revive it. I just did not find the later movies good, and looking back on the original, it's, it's iffy. The Blair Witch. Now, this photo here is obviously from the newest movie that came out. And it wasn't a horrible movie. It wasn't great. The original one was just kind of, it is what it is. It's found footage. One of the first found footage films, I think. And it was just, people walking around the woods. Not doing a whole lot. Not a whole lot happening until later on. Blair Witch 2 was kind of weird. it had some enjoyable parts to it, but Blair Witch 2 was just kind of out there. But overall, it was what it was. For me, this is just kind of meh. Candyman. All right, this is probably going to cause a little bit of ruffled feathers, but for me, the Candyman is cool enough. The guy, I think his name is Tony Todd, that plays him. Iconic, iconic, voice. For me, the Candyman movies were just, they are what they are. They're good, but it wasn't anything that scared me. I didn't get jump scared in hardly any of them, I don't think. But I enjoyed them. They're okay. The Candyman, he's pretty iconic in most people's opinion. For me, he's appealing enough. Neither great nor terrible. So, kind of just mid tier for me. I haven't even watched the newest one yet, but for me, Candyman will always be this guy here. All right, The Collector. Now, I don't know if you've seen The Collector or The Collection. Supposedly, there was supposed to be a third movie coming out. I don't know if it's still in production, if it's been put on hold. I think it was during the time of COVID, from what I heard, and COVID kind of shut the gates on a lot of shit. So, I don't know. I hope we get another one, but if not, it could have ended at the second one just fine. But this guy was freaking brutal. He had a very cool look, kind of an original type, look to him. Very brutal murders in it, kind of like Saw. Really kind of made you, sit back and go, damn, this guy's good. So for me, I like The Collector. I think he's pretty awesome. He's going in true killer for me. Next up, Annabelle. Boy, oh boy. This might make some people mad. But for me, once again, this came from the Conjuring franchise, based off of Ed and Lorraine Warren's cases. Supposedly, the doll had a demon attached to it, or demons or whatever were attracted to this doll. For me, not good enough to warrant, spin off movies. They could have just done a couple things with it within the Conjuring franchise and been done. The doll itself doesn't freak me out. I know some people get freaked out by dolls and all that stuff. For me, doesn't work for me. I didn't really enjoy all the movies all that much. They weren't that great to me. I just thought they were what they were. So, for me, straight trash. I'm sorry if you like Annabelle, but I just couldn't get into them. Next up, Leatherface. Now, I think y'all probably know how I feel about Leatherface. I like him, but he's definitely not one of my favorites. Nothing that I would, write home about. So for me, I can't put Leatherface in Icon. I just can't. I'm sorry. It's my opinion, but he's just, he's pretty badass, but just not S tier for me. He's had a bunch of movies, and really the original one and I can't remember what year it came out, the remake with what's her name? Seventh Heaven chick. Jessica Biel. Those two for me were the best Leatherfaces. So for me, he's going in true killer. Next up, The Creeper from Jeepers Creepers. Now, I think y'all probably know how I feel about The Creeper. He's one of my absolute favorites. And if they would have stopped at the first one and just been done with it, it would have been iconic. Even the second one. The second one was pretty good. I enjoyed the second one. The third one and then Reborn are just fucking straight garbage. Just complete ass tier movies. In Reborn, I don't know what they did or why they did it to change the Creeper. Maybe trying to get away from the whole Victor Salvo, shit, which I get. Had Victor Salvo not been associated with this, Creeper, absolute icon for me personally. I love the Creeper. However, based off of the fact that the fucking third movie and Reborn kind of ruined it, I'm going to stick him in True Killer. I do love the Creeper, though. I think it's a very cool original concept. Something that hasn't really been done. The design in the first and second one were just awesome. And from there, it just tanked. Okay. This one here. There's not really one killer in this movie here. But this one here in the background, behind this girl, it's pretty damn creepy. This is the entity from It Follows. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was very cool. I'm kind of into like the paranormal type stuff. I really kind of enjoy that type of stuff, even if I don't necessarily 100% believe it. They're good fun movies. I really like them. They make me jump sometimes, so. But It Follows was a pretty well done movie, I thought. It wasn't like overly cheesy or anything like that. And this freaking entity thing that follows that one girl around, the main character in it, it's pretty good. So I'm going to put appealing enough because it's not, it's not one of my top picks or anything like that, but it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. If you haven't watched it, I highly suggest it. It's a pretty good movie. It's kind of like having the worst case scenario STD. All right. The Firefly family. Captain Spaulding, Mama Firefly, all those guys. House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, all that. These guys were pretty freaking awesome. And for me, I can't put them in absolute icon just because I think there's, a few more ahead of them. But I never would watch House of a Thousand Corpses when it first came out, just because I had heard so many mixed things about it. That it was disturbing and all this shit. And it's not that I don't mind that type of stuff, but I just I felt that maybe it hit too close to home for a lot of people. So I didn't watch it, but I finally watched it probably a year or two after it came out, and I thought it was pretty amazing. I really enjoyed it. These guys are freaking true killers. Freddy Krueger. We won't include the remake in this, but the icon Robert Englund. Now, Freddy for me was never. Freddy didn't. I wouldn't say that he's not my top pick by any means. And the franchise kind of went downhill. The first one was absolutely awesome. And then the second one was complete shit, I thought. And then Dream Warriors was freaking awesome. I really enjoyed Dream Warrior. That's probably my favorite one, actually. And then there were some hit and misses, after that. But, I mean, it's Freddy Krueger, Everyone knows him. Even if you don't like horror. So, for me, he's an absolute icon. Ghostface. Now, this is a tough one because there's different versions of Ghostface, you know. Now, Stu and what's his nuts from the first one, they were awesome. I really enjoyed the first Scream because it brought back life into the horror genre and it pretty much saved it from the dead. And then there were some shitty ghost faces. So this one is really kind of tough. But, you know, I don't know if I can say it's a true absolute icon, but I can say it's a true killer. So we're gonna go true killer. The latest one that came out, I didn't really like the killers in it. Thought they were just another, here you go. Didn't really make a whole lot of sense, but, they made it work. Alright. My Bloody Valentine. Harry Warden. A dude in a coal miner suit. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I did kind of enjoy the first one was okay. The remake I thought was pretty good. The My Bloody Valentine 3D, whatever, Jensen Ackles in it. I thought it was pretty good. But the concept of just, basically some dude in a coal miner suit is just, it was okay. It was just kind of meh for me. So that's where it's gonna sit. Alright. Regan from The Exorcist. This is probably going to cause some disagreement in some people. But I never was much of a fan of The Exorcist. I just don't buy into the whole, how do I word this, because it's going to conflict a little bit with a later pick for me. But I don't really buy into the whole possession shit. And this movie just didn't scare me all that much. Now I get that, the time frame that it came out, it freaked a lot of people out because there's still a lot of unknowns in that area and all that stuff. But for me, this was just kind of meh. It was whatever. Alright, now I think y'all know where the next one's going to go. I probably don't even have to say too much about Jason Voorhees. I flip-flop back and forth. He's one of my two favorite ones. And the movies, a lot of them kind of suck as far as plot and all that stuff, but I've said this time and time again, I don't give a shit about any of that type of stuff. I just want to see Jason doing Jason things because he's that damn cool. He's got a cool backstory. He's got a very cool look to him. The hockey mask, the different versions of it. Kane Hodder is my favorite Jason. Followed, probably, I really like Derek Mears as Jason. I really hope if they can't get Kane Hodder to do another Jason movie eventually that they go back to Derek Mears. I think he was that good. Followed by, CJ Graham. He did an amazing job. And then, just the earlier ones. Part 3 is probably actually my favorite movie of the whole franchise. It just, that clean Jason look was just pretty amazing, especially for that time frame. And Jason, especially early on when I was watching these, did freak me out. So, he's an absolute icon. No doubt about it. Jigsaw. Tobin Bell. Now, the Saw movies for me, the first one was really good. Second one was okay. And then from there, they just kind of, dwindled down. Personally, I didn't care for some of them. I just thought it was kind of more recycled, garbage. But, I mean, it's hard to say that Tobin Bell didn't make this character just iconic in his own right. For me, though, it's appealing enough. It's neither great nor terrible. It's just right there in the middle. Next up, Michael Myers. Between Jason and Michael, I have a hard time picking which one is my favorite. The 1978 Michael Myers scared the shit out of me. Now, of course, I wasn't, I didn't see it when it was fresh. I seen this movie when I was probably 5 years old, somewhere around there, and just scared the shit out of me. Just the mask is just creepy as hell. The way Michael carries himself, he's an absolute icon. No denying that. I think everyone would probably agree on that. The different variations of Michael, some of them, the masks have sucked. Part 4 comes to mind. I love Part 4 as a movie. I thought it was great. The mask sucked. Everyone gives the resurrection mask shit. I actually liked it, and I had the resurrection masks for a long time. I just sold it not too long ago. So I actually thought it was a really cool mask. And then there were some in between that, weren't that great. The 2018 version was awesome, and then that trilogy just kind of shit the bed. But Michael Myers himself is iconic. Next on the list, and this is going to piss some people off. This is really going to piss some people off because Chucky, to me, is not scary at all. He's a 2-foot-tall plastic doll. Just kick him. I'm sorry, but you can't tell me that, he somehow gained this superhero strength and shit too. It's a plastic doll, guys. Now, Brad Dourif, who plays the voice of him and everything like that, he did an amazing job. I'm not discrediting him at all. I'm just talking about Chucky himself. Just never scared me. And the movies were just something that I kind of laughed at. So for me, Chucky is meh. Just whatever. Alright. Mr. Boogie, I think, is what this guy is called. He's from Sinister. And I don't know how many Sinister movies there are now. I think I've seen the first 2. And I enjoyed them. They were pretty good. This guy's creepy as hell. He causes families to do some pretty grotesque shit. And I can't really tell you a whole lot about it because it's been years since I've seen this, but I enjoyed Sinister. I thought it was pretty good. So for me, it's appealing enough. Alright, Mr. I Came. Pinhead. Oh boy. Pinhead. Pinhead is iconic enough in his own right. However, we're talking about my opinion here. This is just my tier list. Keep in mind that it's my opinions. I don't expect everyone to agree with me. I didn't find the Hellraiser movies all that scary. They were cool. They were a bit odd. And I don't know. To me, it just wasn't my cup of tea as far as horror movies go. Pinhead has an awesome look. There's a lot of times where he was not, the feature of the film or anything like that. So for me, he's just appealing enough. Got a very cool look. They could have probably expanded more on him. And then, like I said, some of the movies were just weird as hell. But I enjoyed them. They were okay. Alright, Mr. Pumpkinhead. Now, granted, the effects were not the best back then for these movies, but Pumpkinhead, it was a really cool concept, and I think as far as like the new era goes, Pumpkinhead would be pretty cool to go against in DBD. Not that I actually enjoy that game, but he could be a really cool killer for DBD. And I think he's kind of overlooked a lot. There's been, I don't know how many different Pumpkinhead movies now, but there's been quite a few. So, for me, I really enjoyed Pumpkinhead, and I think that I'm going to put him in appealing enough. I can't really say that he's on the same level as some of these guys, but he's very cool. All right, Samara, or Sadako, or however the hell you say her name, the Ring Girl. This movie was weird as shit. The character itself is cool enough. A ghost girl from a well that climbs up it and comes out the TV is cool enough. For me, it's just like, yeah, another attempt of, a cheap horror movie. I don't know what else I can say about it. The design is okay. So, it's just, meh. Alright. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. What a revival this has had. Holy shit, this went from a basically unknown cult classic movie from the 80s, and now Killer Clowns is freaking everywhere. It's like Hot Topic Wet Dream right now. They have had a massive revival, and I've always loved Killer Clowns. I thought this was an amazing movie all the way from the beginning. It wasn't overly, scary or anything like that. It's something that even now my 7-year-old will watch with me and thinks it's actually pretty cool. So, Killer Clowns are iconic in my mind. I love them. I can't get enough of them, actually. So I hope the game does really well. Art the Clown from Terrifier. All Hallows Eve. If you haven't watched any of these, I suggest that you do. It's kind of like Saw meets Pennywise type shit. There's some pretty sick stuff in this movie. In these movies, I should say. Terrifier 2, that just came out not long ago. I thought Terrifier 1 was better, but it was still a really cool movie. And Art is absolutely brutal. I don't think he's reached icon status yet, but he is definitely a true killer. I think he's going to be, someone that's considered eventually for the Mount Rushmore of horror villains. All right, the Tall Man, Phantasm. I love this guy. I think he's I think he's pretty creepy. And I think Phantasm has gained a lot of momentum over the years. It was kind of another one of those that, back when it came out, wasn't really all that well known. I don't think it did all that great at the box office. I could be wrong on that. But I think it grew over time, and it just became an odd, creepy, just, cult classic horror movie. And I think, for me, it's going in icon because when I think of horror movies, Phantasm comes to mind. And it's pretty good with these freaking death balls or whatever you want to call them. I don't know what the hell they are. But it's pretty gruesome. So if you haven't seen them, check them out. Some of the later movies weren't all that great. And they probably could have expanded on the Tall Man character. And he's got some great lines in it too. So check them out if you haven't. Alright. This is very blurry. And it's supposed to be. Because you're not really supposed to know what it looks like. But Toby from the Paranormal Activity movies. I can't help it, guys. I enjoyed the Paranormal Activity movies. Not all of them. The last one was dumb as fuck. The marked ones was, I don't know. It is what it is. But I enjoyed 1, 2, and even 3. And it was creepy as shit. things that go bump in the night had you thinking after watching these movies. So for Toby, I enjoy these kind of movies anyway. Like I said, I'm not 100% sold on paranormal stuff or anything like that. I think a lot of it can be explained, and every now and then there might be some odd shit, but True Killer for me, I absolutely enjoyed them. I think it's a really cool character. Angela from Sleepaway Camp. What a plot twist for that time. I'm not going to say too much about it, because if you haven't seen it, it's definitely one of those, cheesy horror movies that you gotta watch. I don't want to give away anything, but this was a very cool movie and a very cool character. Wasn't overly scary, anything like that. So it's appealing enough. I can't put it in True Killer. There are several that came after it, several sequels and whatnot, that some weren't that great. But watch the first one if you haven't. It's pretty good, and I'd say it's worth it. All right, Ben Willis, The Fisherman, from I Know What You Did Last Summer. Now, I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was pretty cool. As far as killer goes, it's a guy in a condom suit. I don't know what to say, with a fish hook. He's got a rubber suit on. I don't know. And a hat. So, killer itself, meh. Could have maybe done a little better with it. I did like the movie, though. Movies, I should say. Thought it was pretty cool. They started going off the rails, just like every sequel does, but yeah, it was alright. Alright, Leprechaun. The same dude that played Willow, Warwick Davis. I enjoyed the Leprechaun movies. I thought they were funny as hell. They weren't scary at all to me. But he had some good lines in it. Made me laugh. I haven't seen some of the later ones just because I'm like, man, I can't do this Leprechaun shit anymore. So it's appealing enough. I don't know where else to put him. I can't put him in True Killer. Can't put him in Icon. And he's definitely not meh or straight trash. So we're going to go appealing enough. I enjoyed Leprechaun, just not that much. Alright, The Orphan. Now, if you haven't seen this movie, I won't say a whole lot about it, but it's worth a watch. It's a pretty good twist in it. And then they came out with First Kill, which they actually did a pretty good job, because when this girl played the orphan the first time, she was like, I don't know, 12, 13, somewhere around there. And then when she reprised the role as a prequel, she was over 30 years old, and they did a pretty good job of still making her look like a kid. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's well worth it. As far as the movie goes and the killer itself, it's just okay. Nothing that I would, tell people you have to watch this or anything. So, it's okay. All right, The Strangers. Guys, I don't know how you feel about this movie or these characters, but I couldn't get into it. I tried going back. I fell asleep the first time I think I tried watching it. I tried going back and watching it again. It just did not do it for me. I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't think it was all that great. I thought, hey, this is something that anyone can do, really. So, straight trash. And that's really all I got to say about that movie. All right, two more. Okay, Puppet Master. I like these movies. I thought it was a good original concept, especially for the time frame. You know, 80s were just pumping out movies, horror movies. Didn't matter if they were good, bad, they were just coming out left and right. Puppet Master for me was always, it was okay. It was a little weird. And the characters themselves, they were cool looking. I mean, some of these, you see some of these on a shelf or somewhere, as like a Funko Pop or, whatever other shit they got out now. You know who they are. But for me, as far as the movies go and as far as the characters go, the game, I don't know if you guys have played that. The game sucks ass. They didn't do a very good job on it unless they've updated it and all that stuff, but they're appealing enough. All right, the last one, Sam, the Trick or Treat movie. I absolutely love this movie. I think this movie was freaking awesome. It tied 3 or 4 stories together in a very Tales from the Crypt ish way. And I can't say enough good things about this movie. My wife hates this movie. I don't know why, but she absolutely hates this movie. But I absolutely love Sam, and I love the movie. I don't think I can put him in absolute icon, though, because it is still kind of one of those movies that has a smaller following, I think. They were supposed to make a sequel of it. Have not heard any more about that. And the design isn't, the greatest. I mean, it looks like a 12-year-old boy in a weird suit with a pumpkin head. So, I mean, to me, it's awesome. I love it. Because I kind of like that, stuff that's a little bit on the cheesier side. But I thought this movie was absolutely phenomenal. And I hope they eventually make another one, and I hope they don't fuck it up if they do. So, I'm going to put him in True Killer. I don't think he's quite on this level here. And then this one here is just a cover photo that I didn't mean to upload, but I can't take it away now that I did. So, that's just a cover photo. We're not going to mess with that. That pretty much has every horror movie icon in it. So yeah, absolute icon. We got Freddy, Jason, Michael. Those 3 are given, You think of the horror movie genre, that's who you're going to say. For me, Spiky and Tall Man from Phantasm. Like I said, I can't get enough of Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I hope they keep making stuff for it, and I hope that it continues to do well. I hope the game is good. And then this, I really think that this is a cool concept, a very cool, creepy ass giant man. True Killer, we got the Collector, Leatherface, Jeepers Creepers, the Firefly family. I don't know why I can't say that. Ghostface, Art the Clown, Toby from Paranormal Activity, and Sam. Appealing enough for me, just, mid tier. Candyman, the entity from It Follows, Jigsaw, Mr. Boogie, Pinhead, Pumpkinhead, Angela, the Leprechaun, and Puppet Master. Meh, I could do with or without them. It didn't really do anything for me. Valak, the Nun, Blair Witch, Harry Warden, Regan, Chucky, Samara, Ben Willis, and The Orphan. Straight fucking trash that probably could do without ever seeing or hearing about again. Children of the Corn, Annabelle, and The Strangers. Alright, what do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know.